You sent a text an hour ago. One line. Hey, are we still on for Friday? No response. And now you're doing the thing. You're rereading the message like it's a crime scene. Did you sound weird? Did you use too many exclamation points? Did you use 0 exclamation points, which is somehow worse? Your brain has now generated 14 possible explanations, and 13 of them involve your friend secretly hating you. Meanwhile, your friend just left their phone in the other room to pee. Be honest. You've done this exact thing this week. Maybe today. Here's the part that should make you feel better. It's actually going to make you feel a little insane instead. Your brain isn't broken when it does this. It's working exactly as designed. Overthinking isn't a glitch in the human operating system. It's a feature. A very old, very expensive, occasionally ridiculous feature. And by the end of this video, you're going to understand why your mind treats an unanswered text message with the same seriousness it would treat a saber-toothed cat. Let's start with Dave. Dave lives in a cave about 40,000 years ago. Dave hears a rustle in the bushes. Now, Dave has 2 options. Option 1, assume it's the wind, relax, maybe take a nap. Option 2, assume it's a predator, freeze mid-step like a cartoon character who just heard a twig snap, and prepare to run. Here's the twist. If Dave assumes wind and it's actually a leopard, Dave is dead. Genetically finished. 0 descendants, 0 Dave Jr. Nothing. But if Dave assumes leopard and it's actually just wind, Dave loses nothing except a nap and maybe some dignity. So evolution did the math, and the math is brutal. It's always cheaper to overreact to a fake threat than to underreact to a real one. Scientists call this the smoke detector principle. Your smoke detector goes off when you burn toast, and that's annoying. But you'd never want a smoke detector that only goes off during an actual house fire, because by then, it's too late. Your brain is a smoke detector for your entire life, and unanswered texts, awkward eye contact, and that thing you said in 9th grade all set it off. But here's where it gets stranger. Because rustling bushes are simple. Modern life is not. Dave never had to worry about whether his boss's one-word email reply, just the word noted, meant he was getting promoted or fired. Dave never had to reread a group chat at 2 a.m., wondering if the silence after his joke meant it bombed. Your ancient threat detection system got handed a smartphone, and it does not know what to do with itself. There's a psychologist named Susan Nolan Hoeksema who spent years studying this exact spiral, and she gave it a name, rumination. Not the cow kind chewing grass twice. The human kind, chewing the same worried thought over and over without ever swallowing it. Her research found something wild. People who ruminate don't actually solve more problems. They just suffer through the same problem more times. It's like running on a treadmill and being surprised you never arrive anywhere. And get this, her studies found that people who ruminated more after a stressful event were more likely to develop prolonged depression and anxiety, not because the event was worse for them, but because their brain replayed it like a movie stuck on loop. Speaking of loops, here's a fun one you probably do 50 times a day without noticing. You check your phone. Nothing new. You lock it. 10 seconds later, you check it again. Nothing changed in 10 seconds. You know nothing changed in 10 seconds. And you check it anyway. That's not boredom. That's a slot machine in your pocket. Slot machines don't pay out every time. And that's exactly why they're addictive. Your brain doesn't crave the reward. It craves the maybe. Your phone works the same way. Maybe there's a text. Maybe there isn't. Your brain would rather pull the lever 900 times a day than sit with the uncertainty of not knowing. But that's only part of the story, because overthinking doesn't just replay the past. It auditions the future. Picture Priya. Priya has a job interview tomorrow. Tonight, lying in bed, Priya's brain decides this is the perfect time to run a full theatrical production of every way the interview could go wrong. She stumbles over a question. She forgets her own name. She sneezes directly into the webcam. The interviewer laughs, not with her, at her. Priya is now spiraling through a horror movie her own mind wrote, directed, and cast her in as the villain. Comments open. I want to know, what's your brain's favorite disaster movie to rerun? Mine reruns A Wedding Toast from 4 years ago on a loop it never asked permission for. Psychologists call this catastrophizing, and it's basically your brain's worst-case scenario generator running on overdrive. And weirdly, it feels productive. It feels like preparation. Like if you imagine every disaster, you're somehow armored against it. Here's the catch. Studies on anxiety and sleep show that this kind of nighttime mental rehearsal actually makes you perform worse the next day, not better. Because you're not resting, you're rehearsing panic. Your brain thinks it's protecting you. It's actually just exhausting you before the actual challenge even starts. And this is where things get even weirder, because you'd think smarter people would overthink less. Nope, research out of the University at Buffalo on cognitive ability and worry found that people with higher verbal intelligence tend to ruminate more, not less. Being smart doesn't turn off the worry machine. It just gives the worry machine better writers. Which explains Rabbit Guy. You know Rabbit Guy. He's the friend who, when asked, should I text her back, produces a 4-part analysis covering tone, timing, historical precedent, and at least one graph. Rabbit Guy isn't dumb. Rabbit Guy is brilliant. That's the problem. His brain is so good at generating possibilities that it can't stop generating them. More horsepower just means more roads to go down. And at 1 a.m., all roads lead somewhere dark. Ask Rabbit Guy what he wants for dinner, and he'll give you a 14-minute cost-benefit breakdown of tacos versus sushi, complete with a mention of the taco place's Yelp reviews and a tangent about their parking situation. Meanwhile, you just wanted an answer so you could stop being hungry. That's the tax that comes with a powerful brain. It doesn't know how to leave a thought alone. There's also a very human wrinkle here called decision paralysis. And it turns out too many choices don't set you free, they trap you. There's a famous study, often called the jam study, where researchers set up a tasting table at a grocery store. Sometimes they offered 6 flavors of jam. Sometimes they offered 24. You'd think more choices means more sales, right? Wrong. The huge selection actually attracted more browsers, but far fewer buyers. People froze. Too many options didn't feel like freedom. It felt like a test they were about to fail. Now stretch that same freeze over your entire life. Which career? Which relationship? Which apartment? Or at 11 at night, standing in a gas station weighing sour gummies against chocolate like you're negotiating a peace treaty. Same brain, same freeze, just lower stakes and worse lighting. But here's where everything changes, because overthinking isn't always the disaster it pretends to be. Think about it. Every invention, every apology, every plan that actually worked started as overthinking. Someone stayed up picturing what could go wrong with a bridge before it was built, and that bridge didn't collapse. Someone replayed an argument with their partner and realized they were being unfair, and the relationship survived because of it. So overthinking isn't always the villain. Sometimes it's just doing its actual job. Psychologists split it into 2 types: reflective thinking, which solves problems, and ruminative thinking, which just spins in place, like a hamster that's very committed to a wheel that goes nowhere. The goal was never to stop thinking about your life. It's to notice when you've switched from the first kind into the second. Rabbit Guy, unfortunately, has never once made that switch. He just upgrades wheels. Here's a wild statistic to sit with. Some studies estimate that the average person has somewhere around 6,000 distinct thoughts per day. 6,000. And your brain, bless it, cannot tell the difference between a thought that matters and a thought that's just noise. So it treats an intrusive worry about your Friday plans with the same electrical urgency as an actual emergency. So why does your brain do this to you? Specifically at night. Specifically when you're trying to sleep? Simple. During the day, you're distracted, work, traffic, snacks, that one coworker who narrates his lunch out loud. At night, the noise stops, and your brain, which has been quietly logging every unresolved worry all day like a very anxious filing cabinet, finally gets a quiet room to dump the entire folder on your desk at once. It's not that nighttime creates the worry. It's the first time all day your brain had room to notice it was even there. And social overthinking deserves its own spotlight, because humans are basically wired to obsess over what the group thinks of us. For most of human history, being kicked out of your tribe wasn't just embarrassing, it was a death sentence. No tribe meant no protection, no food sharing, no backup against predators or rival groups. So your brain still reacts to a slightly cold text message from your friend the same way it would react to being left outside the cave overnight. Rationally, you know nobody's going to banish you into the wilderness because you left someone on read for 6 hours. Your nervous system did not get that memo. Be honest one more time. What's the oldest embarrassing memory your brain still keeps on speed dial? Drop it in the comments. We've all got at least one. This is also why you can still, right now, pull up a full high-definition replay of something embarrassing you did in the 9th grade, but you cannot remember what you had for lunch 3 days ago. Your brain doesn't file memories by how recent they are. It files them by how socially dangerous they felt at the time. That one comment somebody made about your haircut in 7th grade got flagged as critical data, permanently filed right next to actual survival information. Because as far as your ancient wiring is concerned, tribal embarrassment and physical danger live in the same folder. So here's the idea to leave you with, and it's the one that actually changes things. Overthinking was never designed to torture you. It was designed to protect you. Every spiral, every 2 a.m. replay, every worst-case scenario your brain has ever scripted starring you as the tragic lead, it's all coming from the same ancient place that once kept Dave alive in that cave. Your brain isn't malfunctioning when it overthinks. It's just running a survival tool built for leopards on a problem built for group chats. The goal was never to switch it off completely. You wouldn't want to, honestly, even if you could. The goal is just to catch the moment your thinking stops solving anything and starts just spinning, and gently hit the brakes. Because the version of you lying awake replaying a text message and the version of Dave frozen in the dark listening to the bushes, they're not that different. Same brain, 40,000 years apart. Both just trying, in their own overcomplicated, slightly ridiculous way, to make it to morning in one piece. If you enjoyed discovering why humans do the strange things they do, subscribe to Why Humans. There's a lot more about ourselves left to uncover.